You're not really saying that music can kill, are you?
Yes, I am.
Music can be a very powerful thing. Nothing galvanizes the emotions as quickly.
Rock and roll! Hello, Cleveland! Hello, Cleveland!
Hello, kiddies. We are going to have a real good time together. We are talking with the one of the founders, the roots, the cornerstone, if you will, of Kamelot.
Yes.
Not that one, the other one.
Right. It was not once a spot.
No, fascinating conversation. The whole band and the lore and everything else is so cool and so great. And they're heading out on tour shortly, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Yes.
All of it.
It'll get you pumped up for sure. It's very passionate music. You could it could be a soundtrack. It could be.
You put this in your car and you're going to be, Fast and Furiousing it all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah. But the other thing we need to discuss is a sad piece of news.
There are sad pieces of news.
I know. Well, next month marks the end of the Columbia House.
I did see that. I hope they take that off my credit report.
I was going to say that, how many reel-to-reels, 8-tracks, cassettes, and CDs did you get for a penny?
Right.
That, say what you will about it. And I was always, tell me you're shocked, above board in dealing with the Columbia House people.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, I'll take my 8 CDs and then I'll pay for the one that's $25 and we'll leave this deal where everyone's happy. The stuff that allowed me to get into and like try, and a band or a record where you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. There's a bunch of things that I discovered through there.
So many things.
Huge.
Yes.
And everyone makes fun of the fact that, like, sorry, I keep cutting you off.
You're fine. You do that all the time.
I know, but now I feel bad.
No, you're good.
But the fact, like, everyone makes the joke is like, oh, hey, the place you stole from for some, yeah, finally they're closing down. They couldn't make it work. But I feel like the other thing that I think our generation and probably generations before was discovering new music and getting records that you would not necessarily pay full price for.
But also, that is true. And there is also something to it of being able to also get music that you wanted but thought you were getting a good deal on too.
Or similarly, in my case, music that you knew you would never be able to get out of a store with your parents without having questions.
Yes, this was much more the case actually for me as well. And also music that you really were like, why the hell do I have this? This is terrible. I need to cancel this subscription. Let's be honest.
True, but I will say,
it's still around though. Can we go back to the fact that wait, it was still here? How are we still using it?
Apparently they were selling DVDs and Blu-rays. So mail order shut down in 2009. They survived since 2009 as DVD and Blu-ray solely. So now 71 years that they have helped millions of Americans steal music from them.
Do you remember your first one? Wasn't when you first joined, you picked 10?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what your first 10 were?
Well, this is part of the thing I said about records that you didn't think you could get out any other way. Ritual de la Habitual.
Nice.
Which I was like, well, this cover is never going to, make it past mom's eyes.
Right.
And then I get the CD and it is just the white cover with the First Amendment on it. I'm like, all right, but the parental advisory sticker is big enough where I'm not going to get through this anyway. I believe I also got Nothing Shocking through there. I don't know. I believe it was a separate deal of like my
Okay.
sister had one, and I was like, throw that on there. Again, another record cover that would never get. But that one, so kind of discovering Jane's Addiction through them, and then Teenage Fan Club's Bandwagon Esque,
Mm,
which I adore to
yes,
this day. And every December, if you don't play December by them, there's something horribly wrong with you.
true. I get that.
Those were the two big ones for me that I can think of. How about you?
Well, I remember the first ones I ordered, which I'm not necessarily, it doesn't really track for my music taste, but it apparently was in the moment.
Okay, so ZZ
I
Top's Eliminator,
no, Michael
Recycler,
Bolton.
which what?
It was Michael Bolton.
Oh, which record?
That's what I was afraid of. The really popular one, like the really popular one.
The one with Bob Dylan's Steel Walls on it?
I don't even remember his name.
The one that has Love is a Wonderful Thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Steel
And
Walls
so
co-written by, anyway, yes.
PNC Music Factory.
Oh, friend of the show, Martha Wash.
Yes, so that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like I got En Vogue on there.
Mm.
I mean, that I'm very proud of. I love that album to this day.
Yeah, you're never gonna get it.
Right. I
That'd be
remember,
better if Columbia House wrote back and like, sorry, never gonna get it.
yeah, I know. Like the second Harry Connick Jr. album, not
Ooh,
the When Harry Met Sally one.
right. Is that
That
the
one I bought like full on at the record store.
is that the one that's like the blue cover?
Yes,
Yes, okay.
that might have been the third, but it's that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I'm not remembering the titles, but I remember the cases. And
Yeah.
I remember them sending me Belly and me being like, who is this?
Mm.
And I think I got,
Well, you don't like female singers.
I don't. Oh, I got the 10,000 Maniacs unplugged
Of
from
course you
them.
did.
I actually
But
was
you
a
did
member,
not feed the tree, is what you're saying?
no, I
Okay.
was a member of both Columbia House and BMG.
Brag. I didn't know you were made of money.
I wasn't. It's
He
probably
had 2 cents, so you could make that
probably
happen.
money. And I've used that incessantly to support this habit of,
Congratulations on the record. This is, I don't even know what number this is for you guys.
14.
That's pretty
wow.
good. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, we should all be so lucky. Um, listening to the record, I'm just constantly sort of in awe of the amount of things going on every track, that the layers of it, and there's so much, and so much of my time I feel like is spent going, how does one even put this together and figure this all out? Is there a, I mean, this is nothing, some bands are, oh, we went into the studio for a week and we banged this thing out. That's not what this record is.
No. No,
What?
this is a couple of years in the works. And I mean, all the records, I mean, I can say all the albums, and for the most part, of the last 10 years, the songs are pretty packed with information. It's just kind of
Mhm.
what we do. This is sort of the, the kind of the approach that we take to songwriting. It's just a lot of things going on. Hopefully, when the mix is right, fans to discover something new every time they listen to a song. That's also a kind of a cool thing.
When cinematic is an understatement for me. Like it is fully immersive. It's like, how can you not be fully acting? Like it is like a complete, you have to be like acting it out in it. Like even listening to it, you're experiencing it, doing it, it's unreal. Like you are transported
Thank
to
you.
this world. Like it's crazy in the
Yeah,
best possible way.
awesome. Thank you. Well, I mean, the cinematic approach has always been something that I kind of like to bring to the records, and not just in terms of the songwriting, but also just kind of creating some sort of an atmosphere for the listener to, like you said,
Mhm.
this immersive kind of experience. Um, Growing up, loving like Hans Zimmer, or film score guys like that has always been one of the things I loved. And then with this record, we wanted to bring some gothic elements that we kind of had with like Silverthorne and Ghost Opera back to the fold. And then some folk things, like there's acoustic guitar on the record that we haven't had in a while. So there's a lot of new slash old things that we brought back, and hopefully also adding some new elements to the kind of Camelot DNA that keeps the listener engaged. You know?
Well, because I know the last record, Awakening, was sort of a bunch of short stories almost when it comes to the songs and what you're talking about in them, and there are themes, but it's not a kind of full on story. For this record, for Dark Asylum, what was your approach to it? Did you want to kind of keep going down that alley of, because I know it's set in an asylum, that there's different
Yeah.
viewpoints on it. Are you looking at this as part of a bigger story? Is this something bigger you're going for, or is it similar, more vignettes?
Well, I mean, the awakening was not really a concept about a place. This is the Dark Asylum to me is sort of a metaphor for our minds, right?
Mhm.
And each one of these songs is just another room inside of this asylum. It's not this thread story where, you know, this one girl is here and then she goes to, there's not a story about one person. It's about 10 people, 10 different kind of metaphoric scenarios that we all deal with, whether it's, fear or um, madness, all kind of things that he kind of portrayed in within the asylum. And I think that gave us a lot of freedom too to make the songs stand on their own without having to rely on, Passion World doesn't rely on Kaleidoscope, for example. These are all different kind of stories within the asylum.
Mm.
Well, that's one of the things that's kind of, I mean, it's a bad word, but like not cool, but like fascinating about asylums or the history of asylum is like the beauty of madness or perceived madness is these every room is a different world, right? Everybody's mind is a completely different world. And with it, so you can have 10 different worlds within one
Mhm.
place.
Yeah, and
And
some of these stories are kind of like, is this girl, or like for the girl in Asher World, is she just imagining all of this around her, or is it real?
right.
So there's always that kind of duality when it comes to the mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, so it was an interesting kind of path to go down. And it's also we all kind of deal with certain things that you can kind of relate to on this record, I think.
Mhm.
Well, I think that one of the interesting things about it is that, you said it's something we can all relate to, and I think that is definitely there in all of the tracks, and you get that sense of, oh, I see what this. But the other interesting thing about it is that a lot of it seems like the emotion of it is really dialed up in a way that is hard to miss, or you're really cutting some of these feelings and thoughts and right to the bone of the
Yeah.
heart of that the vein of the emotion in the story. As an artist, is it it's certainly not easy to do, to get to those places and to
Mhm.
spend some time there. Is that kind of the only way you can do it, with that sort of truth innate in these stories and these songs, of just, we have to go to
Mhm.
the hardest part of this conversation we need to have on every track.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of writing lyrics that you said kind of cut to the core, but also a vocalist like Tommy who can convey these things to being a storyteller and also creating moods to the list for the listener. He's got a really great gift to do that. Mm. Sometimes I listen to the songs and I'm just like, geez, and it's not I'm not patting myself on the back. It's more because Tommy is so good at conveying these words into emotion. And yeah.
I mean, yes, but also the musical, and I don't want to say background and mean it as like, also there's music there,
Yeah.
but like there's a lot happening there of things that you're doing and that you're putting together to both feed off of each other in a way.
Uh,
And so when you're putting these songs together, when you're writing them, how much of that are you kind of going into it musically? Because does he do the lyrics as well, or is that something you're adding as well?
yeah, on this record, it was between Tommy, myself, and Oliver, our keyboard player. But yeah, well, first, thank you for listening and acknowledging the deeper kind of meaning of all of this, you know. And I guess it just all kind of works in tandem, you know. Maybe if there's a chorus that we know that the keys need to be a certain way to kind of um, give a certain atmosphere to the background of everything. You know, you mentioned background, which is what it is, right? Um, so I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of it's organic. A lot of it's just the way that we write in terms of the way we like to play certain chords or melodies over certain chords that create a certain response in the listener, you know. I like the Ashen World, for example, the chorus was something that when I first heard it, it just touched me, you know, as one of the writers. So.
Right. Well, and is that something as a writer that you need to do? It's sort of the if you can't move yourself, if you can't believe it yourself, if you can't feel it yourself,
For
it
me,
doesn't
it is,
belong on
yeah.
the record.
For me, it's like that. Like also like my attention span is very short. So like if something's too long, I'll say we got to cut this in half, and my bandmates might say, "No, this is cool." I'm like, I know, because I can tell you, like I know it needs to change now. um, so yeah, I think about it. How does it affect me? You know, and of course, if someone in the band says, you know, this chorus doesn't work for me, then we change it. But it has to work for you to be believable, especially to perform the songs live, you know.
Well, and your sound that Camelot has and has had is really unique and feels very one of a kind, and you can instantly go like, "Oh, I know who this is."
Mm.
And with you being, I think, kind of the sole constant through the entire career of the group, how much, could you have made this record 13 albums ago? Or did you need those first 13 to get to this point where you're like, I am confident in my skills and my ability as a songwriter and a storyteller to put this together?
Not 13 years ago, but maybe or not 13 albums ago, maybe 10 albums ago. You know, that's where it really started to kind of I was able to start bringing in my own personal musical creativity outside of metal, like new age music or classical, any kind of world music I wanted to bring in, you know, and we brought a little bit of that back on this record with like we have a song, The Complete Icelandic, which is something new for us, which was fun to do. So I think, you know, being doing this for 30 years or more, and this being our 14th record, it's definitely given myself and the band a kind of a freedom to kind of just do whatever we want, you know, and hopefully everyone kind of follows the vision, which I feel like is an important freedom to have as an artist.
How does fear kind of factor into that? Because you are making these bigger statements and these
Mm.
very grand ideas. Is there an element of, I hope folks go along with this? Or do you just know Camelot fans will be like, yes, I see where you guys are going with this and let's go?
For the most part, I trust that the fans will trust us, and they
Hmm.
kind of want an album that's diverse and different, and you know these kind of things. And I think after so many years, I don't really worry about it. So you know, so much as long as I know that we've done all the work that we can as individuals and songwriters, and then you just have to live with the consequences, good or bad, right?
Hmm.
Um, and for probably several years, I haven't worried too much about like reviews or these kind of things. I don't know if it's just a kind of because I'm kind of just satisfied with um, who we are as artists and performers, and the other stuff is just kind of noise, you know.
What were you listening to as a kid?
Uh, I listen to classical music, jazz. My sisters had a lot of like classic rock, like Zeppelin, Sabbath, and Heart. That's
That
the best.
totally tracks. That makes total sense.
Yeah, so that's what I listened to. But then I started getting to metal like when I moved to Tampa when I was like 13, 14. Even 15, I didn't really listen to metal that much until I got a guitar. That's when I started playing. Um, but yeah, my background's been more the kind of 70s,
Hmm.
you know.
That's like that. Not over, I mean, I always say it's overly emotive, but it's not. It's like the perfect level of emotion. Like other people find it overly emotive. I don't.
Yeah.
And it's like that, just perfect.
Yeah, I
Just,
don't know. I think that just the songwriting back then was just better, you know.
yes, so good. That makes total sense.
And how do you guys put these songs together? Are you coming in with a chord progression and a theme, or because again, that the layers on this record are so heavy that where do you start with? Where do you begin this process?
It usually starts with I can just speak for myself, but Tommy wrote God Like Alchemy, which is one of my favorites on the record,
Mhm.
but like the Dark Asylum riff in the opening is a riff that I had on my phone from a sound check. And then I just took that riff, I recorded it on my studio, started adding drums to it, and then you go, okay, this is a cool riff. Now what are we going to do? We need a verse. So then you have to kind of, it's almost like building it. You have to build it around either a certain riff or a great chorus melody. That's
Hmm.
how it happens. But it 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 doesn't really happen quickly though, because you have to kind of, if you want it to be, good, if you want it to, like also mid parts, I like them, mid parts are really important for me, like breakdowns, these kind of things. And I love it when we break down to the piano version of a chorus and then come back up. That's kind of how it happens. We send ideas back and forth. We have like a folder, you Camelot song ideas 2026 or whatever it might be. And we go through and listen to everybody's ideas and go, hey, there's something about this that's really cool, or I think we can expand that. That's basically how it works.
It's interesting because again, I oddly enough have been listening to and reading a lot about Brian Wilson as of late.
Hmm.
And again, you want to talk about records that are layered and have a lot going on in them and are doing all these things. And in some ways, the fact that he was doing all of that himself almost seems easier when you're trying to take in other people's ideas. And it seems again like I, how all of that kind of comes and complements each other. It just seems very, very not complicated, but just like this is a recipe for anarchy.
Yeah, it could be, but like I'm very fortunate to be working with some amazing musicians and songwriters, and like Oliver, he can play guitar, he can play keyboards and sings. Tommy writes, he can play guitar now and keyboards, and so we have a lot of trust in each other, which is so super important, and also streamlines the whole process. Like you were saying, if you're having to deal with a bunch of cooks, then it could be chaotic. But I think over time, you start to just trust the other people, and they might send an idea. I'm like, hey, let's make this more of a straight beat here or whatever with the drums and little things like that. But for the most part, it's really um, just trusting your co-songwriters and producers, and um, also we already kind of have a DNA for, not a template, but a kind of a DNA for what Camelot should be, and
Hmm.
so as songwriters, we all kind of understand that as well.
And like what kind of what everyone's bringing and where you're headed and all of that. That's an enormous amount of trust also and vulnerableness you have to have in working with these people. Have you always had that?
No, not always, but this lineup has been incredible, and Tommy's been with us what seems like maybe 14 years now, which is insane. It's like that's how most bands are. That's a full,
It's a
or
full
two
lifetime. Yeah.
careers for
Yeah.
a lot of bands. So
Yeah.
And he's the new guy. Like, I mean,
yeah, he's
it's
good.
yeah,
Quote unquote the new guy.
yeah.
Right, the baby.
He's been with us longer than any other vocalist. So and yeah, he's integral to what we do completely, and his vocals on this record to me are some of his best ever, including the other bands that he's been in. So I'm really fortunate to have an amazing team as well as the producer and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just I think it's just trusting who you work with and trusting yourself too as a creative person. You have to believe in yourself.
Can you sit back and enjoy the record now? Or are you always hearing little
I
things of,
haven't
I
yet.
could,
I have to.
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out which songs we're going to play live.
Mm.
I know there's 4 or 5 of them, but so no, actually, it's a good question. I haven't had a chance because everything was done. Like we always put every ounce of energy and time into before we give this to the record label. We're like working like all the time on it, and so I haven't had a chance to kind of separate myself and go back and listen. Sometimes it takes a year to do that,
Hmm.
which is crazy, but um, it's also kind of cool because then I'll go back and go, hey, we should probably play the Puppet King. That song would be great live. But at the time, like now, I'm not even thinking about some of these, particularly for live stuff. But yeah, but that's a very interesting question. Most people probably don't understand that you have to step away a little bit.
And I'm assuming yeah, like you said, it takes a few years to be able to listen to something perhaps
Mhm.
without hearing all of the, oh, that was Thursday. And just taking the song as its own thing, which kind of then moves us into talking about Camfest, which
Mhm.
this is the first one you've done, correct?
Yeah, this is the first one, which is exciting. We're going to be playing 2 shows at the O13 in Tilburg, Holland. And we initially were going to do that, but I thought it'd be cool to make it more like a festival because that gives us a chance to kind of do something different on day 1 and 2. And then also we have a different lineup in terms of support bands on the 2 days. So, and once we announced that, like recently we had offers to do CamFest in Brazil and Mexico. So we'll see. It might expand to other countries, but we're excited about
Well, just the name of it kind of implies for fans, like, you want to check this out. Are you going to be doing stuff that you don't normally do,
it.
digging
Yeah,
out some tracks and things that people
yeah, and the
haven't heard?
production will be different. It's going to be, and also it's Halloween weekend, so it's just kind of it has
That did
some
not escape my notice. Yeah.
That's going to
all
be,
kind of craziness might happen. Who knows? But
yeah.
we know it seems like the Halloween's always got some interesting clothing choices. So we'll see what happens.
And when you take this record out, how, like you said, you're going to be doing 2 or 3 songs maybe from this record. How do you kind of work this all together and with the presentation of it all?
Mhm.
Again, it
Yeah,
just
we'll,
seems
we'll do
like
at
a,
least we'll do 4 to 5 of the new album for sure.
and that's a nice chunk of the record. It
Mhm.
also
Yeah,
shows your faith in it and your belief in
that's
what you've
been our
got there.
philosophy with Luke. That's been our philosophy really always is to believe in the new album, even if you've been around 30 years. This is our new album. We're gonna
Mhm.
play it, and we get new fans that way.
Sure.
Rather than just playing songs from 20 years ago. And we like the songs, so it's also fun, and we want to do it. So,
Of course.
but like unless we did the whole thing in its entirety, it's definitely difficult to figure out. Okay, what songs are we going to play that are not on this record?
Hmm.
And then also being around and having 14 records, it's hard to tell. I mean, for the most part, we know our fan base, that kind of where they're from, like in terms of when did they find out about Camelot, etc.
Mhm.
But we still always have someone that's like, why don't you play a song from the third record? Like, because there'd be like 4 people like, oh, I know that song. So you also have to think about the crowd and how the songs kind of go over live as well.
You know,
It's hard. That's so hard.
well, and I feel like your band in particular, with its sort of worldwide appeal, that there's got to be pockets where records and songs resonate with certain regions and not in others. How much you have to change the set list when you're going, all right, well, we're going to be in South America, and for whatever reason, this record of this song just kills there every time, and
Yeah.
it doesn't do the same thing in in America or in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's probably South America is definitely more of a outlier when it comes to certain types of songs, and usually they're more the speedy songs, the faster songs. Same with Japan. Um,
Japan loves a double bass drum. Huh.
yeah,
Interesting.
but like a song like "Center of the Universe" from I think that's on the Epica album. They love that in South America, and we almost always play it down there. And they sing the whole song, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
So it's I guess you could say it's a good problem to have,
Right.
multiple records, but it does make it difficult to create a set list, and to make everyone happy, which you don't have to do.
Mhm.
So.
by Kamelot is available August 28th wherever you get your records. For more information, check out their website, kamelot.com, or you can find them on Facebook, facebook.com/KamelotOfficial.